Welcome to the Apple Daily News. This podcast is created by Generative AI. Today is June 22nd, 2024, and we've got a lot to cover. From regulatory hurdles in Europe to the rise and fall of a startup and Apple's latest AI endeavors, there's plenty to discuss. As always, links to all stories can be found in the episode notes. Apple has decided to delay the deployment of several artificial intelligence features in Europe due to concerns over the continent's privacy regulations. The company is worried that the European Digital Markets Act, or DMA, could compromise user privacy and data security. Affected services include phone mirroring, SharePlay screen sharing, and Apple Intelligence, which aims to incorporate machine learning models into Apple's software. While these features will launch in operating system updates outside of Europe, European users will have to wait. The DMA requires companies like Apple to observe fair business practices and avoid self-preferencing, a rule Apple has been criticized for not fully complying with. The European Commission is expected to find that Apple has not met its obligations, and Open Web Advocacy has published a report on how regulators should address Apple's alleged non-compliance. In a related story, Apple has announced that European customers will not have access to the Apple Intelligence, iPhone mirroring, and SharePlay screen sharing features that are set to launch in September. These features are part of a broader update that overhauls Siri and other apps, with some Siri-related capabilities not launching until 2025. Apple cited regulatory uncertainties as the reason for the delay, as they work to ensure compliance with the European Union's competition rules. The delay comes as the European Commission prepares to rule on whether Apple's prior changes meet the terms of the DMA, with concerns raised about Apple's implementation and core technology fee. The timeline for expanding these features to the EU remains unclear. Apple has also announced that 3 major features in iOS 18 and macOS Sequoia, including iPhone screen mirroring on the Mac, SharePlay screen sharing, and the Apple Intelligence suite of generative AI features, will not be available to European users this fall due to regulatory uncertainties brought about by the DMA. Apple expressed concerns that the interoperability requirements of the DMA could compromise user privacy and data security. This decision marks a significant divergence in functionality and features for Apple devices in the EU compared to other regions. Apple has stated its commitment to collaborating with the European Commission to find a solution that would allow them to deliver these features to EU customers without compromising safety. In another development, Apple has decided to discontinue its Buy Now, Pay Later service called Apple Pay Later, just a year after its launch in the US. The company will now rely on established players in the industry like Affirm and Klarna. Apple Pay Later was introduced in March 2023 to allow iPhone users to split purchases of up to $1,000 into 4 equal payments with no fees or interest. However, the service was limited to where Apple Pay was accepted, unlike its competitors who had broader integration. Apple announced at its developers conference that it will allow banks to offer Buy Now, Pay Later plans through Apple Pay and Apple Wallet, integrating Affirm directly into Apple Wallet. Existing Apple Pay Later loans can still be managed within Apple Pay, but new loans will no longer be offered. Switching gears, Humane, a startup founded by ex-Apple employees, raised $230 million over 6 years to develop an AI PIN device meant to replace phones. However, the product fell short of expectations, with issues like poor battery life, heavy weight, and an ineffective projector. The company's pivot to AI late in the game was seen as a desperate move to attract investors. The startup's obsession with recreating Apple's success from 2007 led to overconfidence and poor decision-making, such as a mandatory subscription and separate phone number for the device. The company's failure highlights the dangers of nostalgia and the pitfalls of trying to replicate Apple's success without the same resources and momentum. The story serves as a cautionary tale about the importance of humility, adaptability, and focusing on building a viable product rather than chasing past glory. Lastly, Apple showcased its approach to artificial intelligence at the Worldwide Developer Conference, WWDC, emphasizing the integration of AI as a feature across its products rather than a standalone product. The company demonstrated how AI can enhance existing apps and operating system features in meaningful ways. Apple's focus on integrating generative AI across various products contrasts with other companies attempting to create dedicated AI hardware, which have been less successful. Apple's AI features include writing tools for text rewriting, Image Playground for creating stylized illustrations, and Genmoji for generating emojis. Siri is also getting upgrades to better understand speech and access app data. Apple's generative AI will primarily run locally on devices, with the option to use cloud computing for more complex queries. The technology is set to roll out later this year in beta for select Apple devices. Overall, Apple's approach highlights AI as a feature integrated into everyday technology rather than a standalone product. That's all for today's episode of the Apple Daily News. We hope you found these stories as intriguing as we did. Don't forget to check the episode notes for links to all the articles we discussed. Join us again tomorrow for more updates and insights into the world of Apple technology. Until then, stay curious and stay informed.